Hey guys, Maxmc55 here, and today we are going to be looking at the future of the Fall of Cybertron Gamer Edition line. Now, I know Cobbett and Cam did a video on the War for Cybertron characters, and I'm more of a fan of Fall of Cybertron, so I really wanted to just get into the Fall of Cybertron feel, because right now I'm collecting all the figures from them, so I want to just take a look at all the figures from all the characters from Fall of Cybertron and predict what class system they'll be in and what scale they'll be in and prices, and basically what characters will show up and won't show up, and what characters will get reissues, because as we know, this is a sequel to War for Cybertron, so I believe there's going to be a lot of War for Cybertron figures that come to the Fall of Cybertron version as a reissue. Maybe with new Fall of Cybertron weapons, that is. So let's get right into it. Peep the new microphone. Okay, so first we're going to take a look at the Autobots. And I'm only going to be doing the Autobots that appear and are playable in the game. Now first, let's get the big boy out of the way. Yeah, he's definitely going to be a Voyager. There's no way they're going to make him a leader or a deluxe. Now, will he be a remold of the War for Cybertron version? I don't think so. I think there's too many changes to Optimus Prime in Fall of Cybertron that he has to be a new mold, and there is a possibility that he's going to be turned into another character that we will look at, so he definitely has to be a new mold. To kickstart Fall of Cybertron, it just makes sense for him to be a new mold, and he obviously will become with the Path Blaster, because duh. Now the thing I don't know what will happen with is the shield and the sword. Now I definitely think they will come with the sword, because he came with the axe with the War for Cybertron version, but the shield that he uses at the end of the game I don't think he will come with. So that's a bit unfortunate, but it might, there might be some budget left for just giving them both Megatron and Optimus just a grey shield. Okay, so next is Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. These will be reissues of the War for Cybertron version, but preferably and honestly, I really want them just to remold it. We know that Optimus War for Cybertron was supposed to be the first Gamer Edition, but the higher up said no, you need to have two others, so they rushed both Barricade and Bumblebee. So it'd be great to have a remold of Bumblebee where he isn't too fat and is more extended and has a better transformation, but I honestly think they're just going to reissue him. Same with Cliffjumper. Obviously, we got Cliffjumper in the War for Cybertron line because he appeared at the DS games. This was just an excuse to get a repaint out and a Fall of Cybertron character out before getting into Fall of Cybertron. So these two will definitely just be reissues straight up. Now, the next Autobot I want to talk about is Jetfire, because you did actually get to play him in the final mission of Transformers Fall of Cybertron. He was in a brief mission, and I think we'll just easily reissue the War for Cybertron version, maybe with a little bit more vibrant paint, because in War for Cybertron everyone's more gritty, but in Fall of Cybertron for some reason everyone's more vibrant. So this will just be a reissue with possibly the rocket launcher. I completely forgot the name of it, but that rocket launcher you use in the mission, he'll come with. So that will be a reissue. And for the other aerial bots, I don't know if they will get a reissue or not, because, although they did appear in Fall of Cybertron multiplayer, they weren't a playable character, so I think they just might leave off Silverbolt and Air Raid. Now, Jazz is just going to be a reissue of the War for Cybertron version, because in War for Cybertron, he was a playable character in multiplayer, and knowing Hasbro, they're just going to shove Jazz in the War for Cybertron area. So he's just going to be a reissue with, the shotgun he uses in the mission. So, yeah. Now, G1 Optimus Prime was a skin, a DLC skin you could have bought for Fall of Cybertron. Now, I think they will not do this version, unfortunately, because obviously it's just a G1 Prime. It doesn't really have that much aestheticness to fit the Fall of Cybertron version that it will just sell. But it is Optimus Prime, so they might, make one. But I honestly think they could just remold and repaint the Devastation version they've just recently released. I know not a lot of people like that figure, but it's the best bet. It's already in Studio Series. It's already a tiny G1 Optimus Prime or G1 version, and remolding the head and maybe remolding the chest a little bit just to look like Fall of Cybertron, I think would actually work pretty well. Okay, so now Grimlock. Grimlock will easily be a leader class. But I honestly think they could make him a Voyager and just upscale him, because he wasn't actually that big compared to everyone else. He was just like a little bit bigger than his Dinobot brethren. But honestly, I think he deserves a leader class, especially for the engineering, and that original Voyager for the Cybertron Grimlock wasn't the greatest. So getting like the best engineering would have to be a leader class. Now for the other Dinobots, we didn't get to play them, but we did get to play them in multiplayer. So I am going to put them here. Sludge, I don't think we'll get a figure, unfortunately, because he was dead. And we never actually got to see that design in-game, ever. We only got to see it in the end credits scene, which is weird, but yeah, it would be nice to get Sludge. But Swoop is a definite deluxe. He's not Voyager worthy, in my opinion. He's also the smallest out of Dinobots, so he would have to be a small Voyager, and I don't think anyone would really like that. And everyone else, you know, Snarl, Slug, would have to be Voyager. It just makes the most sense. But yeah, I think Slug could contend to be a deluxe, but we will have to see. Now, if they did do Sludge, he would have to be a leader class. I don't see him being anything other. He was very big, and he is a very big dinosaur, so he would definitely have to be a leader. But it would be cool to get him. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the multiplayer characters that were playable, and Perceptor, because he was in the campaign. Perceptor is an easy yes, he's going to be a Voyager. There's no doubt about it. He appeared in the campaign, and he was playable in the multiplayer version, so, you know, that's that. The other ones, these are all DLC multiplayer characters. So first we got Wheeljack. I could see Wheeljack getting a new figure. His design is great. It's unique in a way that it will stand out. And yeah, in easy deluxe. Hound will be a deluxe. I don't actually see them making Hound though, because we just did get the new Hound, and we do have Siege Hound. So yeah, but I could see them making him. He does have a really cool design in the game. But then the last DLC character that we're going to talk about is Ultra Magnus. So we know Ultra Magnus had a DS game character model, but I don't think they're going to do that. So I agree with Common and Cam on his video. They're gonna wait until Fall of Cybertron, and I think this guy's going to be a heavy retool of the Fall of Cybertron Optimus Prime they're going to make. So that's why I think Optimus should be his own mold, because remolding War for Cybertron Optimus that many times is just going to break the mold. But Ultra Magnus, I could see, being a remold. And hopefully he could come with a hammer, maybe, just because why not? Alright, now getting into the Decepticons. Megatron is a straight up Voyager. I don't see him being a leader, and he will be his own mold, because nowhere they're going to remold that War for Cybertron into that design. Soundwave will be a reissue of the War for Cybertron figure. Same goes for Shockwave. I know he was not playable, but he did play a big role in Fall of Cybertron, so I think they will just reissue his War for Cybertron figure, because he did appear in the War for Cybertron multiplayer. And my prediction for Soundwave and Shockwave will be a Voyager, and Soundwave will be a Deluxe, and I agree with Common and Cam on that. But I could see Shockwave also being a Deluxe, because his Deluxe in Fall of Cybertron is actually really good. It could just be a tall Deluxe. Now, the Combaticons are very interesting. See, now my theory is they're going to make Brawl and Onslaught in the War for Cybertron line, but make them non-combining, like it's just going to be a singular figure. Maybe Brawl will be pushed back so he can combine, but Onslaught, I think, will get a Voyager figure in War for Cybertron, but then in Fall of Cybertron, he's going to get a leader figure. Basically, he'll just have combining gear and all that stuff, and he'll be compromised. So you will have options to have good Onslaught toy, or a bad one which can combine. But speaking of his components, Brawl will obviously be a Deluxe, but if they go the route of making two, I think he will be a Voyager in War for Cybertron and a Deluxe in Fall of Cybertron. The rest of the Combaticons, Vortex, Swindle, and Blastoff will also be Deluxes, and I think their combining gear should be built in like the original toy, but just done a little bit better. Now, Starscream will easily be a reissue of his War for Cybertron figure with more vibrant paint, but I do think they should remold his chest a little bit, because his chest on the original figure is a bit wide, and I would like it to be more slender, and obviously he will come with a different weapon. Also, if they have enough budget, I would like to see the Crown make an appearance, but I don't think they will go that route. Now, for the Insecticons, I think Hardshell is an easy Voyager, but I could see them doing a leader, but he was actually smaller than Grimlock, so he will definitely be a Voyager scale, and the other Insecticons, Sharpshot and Kickback, I think will just be Deluxes. I don't think they need a Voyager budget, especially with that original Fall of Cybertron Kickback toy. That Deluxe was amazing, and I have it, and it is great. So it can, their designs can be done in Deluxe form. Let's just hope they do them justice. Now for the multiplayer characters, there isn't actually a lot. It's just Quake and Dragstrip. Quake will be a possible leader, but I think they'll just stick with Voyager, and I won't I don't think we'll see him for a long time because we did just get the brand new Quake and Legacy. Dragstrip will be a deluxe, and it will be the fuller Cybertron design, not the War for Cybertron DS design. Now for the other ones, you know, the other full Cybertron, they might get reissues. They were in multiplayer, like, you know, like Demolisher and all that, but they were in War for Cybertron, and they didn't really make a main role in fuller Cybertron campaign, so I wouldn't see them in the reissue line. I think they'll just stick to the War for Cybertron version. Okay, so that's my predictions on who's coming and what's gonna be happening. I know a lot of characters like Sideswipe appeared in Full of Cybertron, which I didn't talk about, but Sideswipe only made like cutscenes, and he didn't even get to play as him in the campaign. So I just find there's like no point in reissuing him. So yeah, that was my predictions on Transformers Fall of Cybertron, all the toys, all the stuff that are coming out. I really am hyped for a lot of them. I'm super excited to be collecting these again, and the thrill I have collecting them. So yeah, I'll see you all later in the next video. Bye-bye!